Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Amanda Cowlrick. Mrs. Amanda, how are you doing, ma'am?
Good, thank you. Yeah, it's all the way from Auckland, New Zealand. So it's 6 a.m. Oh, just after 6 a.m. here at the moment.
Exactly. And also, thank you so much for the time and the opportunity. Firstly, you are the founder of Replenish Healing. Can you please, Mrs. Amanda, discuss more about yourself and how you're doing currently now, Mrs. Amanda?
So I'm a Reiki Master and homeopath, and I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand. And as you mentioned, I run am founder of Replenish Healing, which is based in my home in Castor Bay. And from there, I also do Atua healing.
Exactly. And also, in regards to every single thing you have done as a Reiki master, and also a replenish healing, Mrs. Hamanda, which shows the beauty of what you've actually built so far. Have you written any book, or do you plan to write any book in the coming future, Mrs. Amanda?
Not at this stage, no. I do a few, well, such as today, doing podcasts and things like that. Books are probably a bit further down the line.
Exactly. Well, to be honest,
Yeah.
Mrs. Hamanda would definitely be expecting that, but we do hope that with the great work you've done out there and also what you've built as well, it actually creating the impact that one needs to actually become more better and also more successful as well. I would like to drive to the point of symptoms like headache, fatigue, anxiety. Many listeners could be in the position whereby they feel like they are constantly treating the symptoms without lasting relief. How do you think someone can begin shifting from symptom management to root cause healing, Mrs. Hamanda?
I think with using obviously holistic healing, but the good thing with moving from a symptom management to root cause healing is that people can, if need be, still use the medication they're on if they are on something. And with that, you can work with your homeopath or Reiki Master or whoever it is you're working with. And you also need to be working with the doctor if you are on something that your doctor's prescribed. I don't know how it is in other countries, but in New Zealand, it would be um, that whole process is done with your Reiki Master, your homeopath, and doctor as a whole to support you while you're going through that shift and change from just doing the symptom management through to root cause healing. Um, and headaches, fatigue, and anxiety can stem from a number of things. So, using holistic health approach that looks at the whole picture um, can take time. So sometimes, yeah, it's a slower process than just taking an aspirin or something like that as well. So that's always something to be aware of. And I would always recommend that if you're doing that, you do it with your doctor's support.
Thank you so much. And you've said it. A holistic or a more holistic approach is one of the best way one can try to actually deal with this situation because to be honest with you, Mrs. Hamanda, they are always common. Headache, most especially that headache, they are always common and it keeps coming back. And for us to look for the right person who can actually give us the root cause of the situation that we are always constantly going back to, it says a lot to us and how we can also be in the position to also deal with it as well. And also, I would like to drive to the point why you think so many people disconnect from their body in high performance environments. And how do you think they can try to gently reconnect back to those bodies, Mrs. Hamanda?
Often people who are in high performance environments are in high stress careers. They could be perfectionists or in combat. So environments that are going to bring in those stress factors for that. And often they do a coping mechanism, as you're saying, they disconnect from their bodies. And that is called a functional freeze. And they do this as a survival mechanism, which generally puts people into auto mode. And it's a way of the body coping so that it doesn't get overloaded, basically. Um, and when people need to reconnect, there's easy tasks they can do, such as going and even taking your shoes off and going and standing on grass, and things like that, which isn't always easy if you're in the middle of a city, that sort of thing. But you can do meditation. There's really good music that you can put on YouTube or things like that. So you can go and find something that you can just stop and be with. Reiki is really good with that as well. It gives you time to reset, and you're just stopping and having that space to kind of just bring yourself down. Breath work's another one, slowing the body, bringing in that breath and things like that, just to help quieten the mind. But depending on what someone's been through, that can take a process as well, through that. So yeah, it's kind of in a
Thank you so
nutshell.
much. I definitely understand what you're saying because, despite every single situation, we are all different beings. We are all different people.
Mm.
And as we are being different, we have different things that can actually help us to heal from those
Yeah,
areas as well. You talking about connecting with the nature. You spoke about listening to music. There are different ways that one can actually try to relieve the sense of pressure and pain within themselves. Breath work is one of the things you also mentioned as well. So we have to
yeah,
understand how, or also what really works for us to be in the position to give ourselves the body that the balance the body needs for us to actually build and also become much stronger and also to actually succeed. Because sometimes, to be honest, sometimes it is not even a situation whereby we need to go to our doctor. It's for us to just sit down and give ourselves the relaxation that we need. And just like magic, everything will just disappear because the body also needs its own time. It needs its own time to process. And we're in a world whereby it is filled with burnout. A lot of people are too busy to do a lot of things in a very short moment,
yeah,
which also contributes to the situation as well. We should try to give our body time and understand what also worked for us as well. So I sincerely appreciate that beautiful insight.
yeah.
And also, I would like to drive to the point of Reiki, meditation, or homotherapy. How do you think these practices support the nervous system rather than replacing medical care, Mrs. Amanda?
So Reiki, which I love, obviously, I practice it and things like that, is what's a very gentle and non-invasive system that, as I mentioned earlier, it allows people to stop, it helps you clear your mind, and it gives some space. So when you're doing something, it gives you space. You can just come into yourself and sit there. And often with the nervous system, if you're in a position where it's put you into fight or flight, you need to reset that. And to reset that sort of thing, you need to be able to just, it goes back to breath work or meditation as well, something that can just bring you back into that sympathetic, eh, parasympathetic system. So yeah, it's um, come on. Sorry, I'm waffling a bit at the moment. It's 6 a.m. over here. Um, so it's about doing stuff that's affordable as well, because a lot of people don't have the money to be going off and paying someone to, meditate with and things like that. So meditation and Reiki, you don't need any equipment. You can just put some music on again and sit within that space and self-regulate back to the parasympathetic or homeostasis around that. And that's, the state of feeling safe. And it's the ability to have positive social engagement with people as well, once you're back into that thing.
I'm very, very much glad. I do know you are one of the Reiki master that really understand this perspective and also understand the benefit it has as well. But it's also for us to build this as a source of a support because the medical system has been there. It will always be there. When we have issues, we will always go there. We do know. But when we have things like this Reiki and meditation and other things like that, it serves as a support for us because sometimes we are
Yeah,
in the position whereby we might not be able to completely heal from the situation. but we can build a sense of relief. We can build a sense whereby when we do some things constantly, it actually fades some kind of situation we constantly have. And that is why we have to spend the time with our body to build it and also be in the position to use all these tools as a sense of support for ourselves, for our being, for our body at large as well. So I sincerely appreciate the
Yeah.
beautiful insight, Mrs. Amanda. Skepticism is also one of the things that really have issues when it comes to healing and also modalities. How do you think we can balance skepticism with openness when exploring an alternative healing modalities, Mrs. Amanda?
Oh, I think with skepticism, it's actually important. And I say this because you need to question stuff. Don't ever take things at face value. You need to question, you need to research. There is so many things out there. There's so many new things that are coming in, and all that. And it's very easy to get caught up into the thing that is a now. Around that. So yeah, I just think it's really important. And I think it's that if you find a modality you like, do some research around it. And it's always hard sometimes to find the effectiveness or research that shows how effective it is due to the noise on the web. There's a lot of other stuff that comes in around that. If you're going to do something, make sure your practitioner you're working with is registered. Because then if something does happen, you've got a body to come back to and talk to about it and things like that. And you can get feedback as well from them. Um, yeah, and I think if you're going to start on something with a healing modality and you haven't been into this space before, just go for the more we say mainstream sort of thing, maybe like Reiki or herbalism, massage, those sort of things that are a little bit more considered every day versus something that may be a little bit further down the field and not have the same reputation or the same research behind it. So, yeah, be a bit skeptic, a bit of a skeptic about things. I still am about some of the things I practice because it keeps me on my toes. Yeah.
Mrs. Amanda, to be honest with you, there are a lot of things out there. When we go on net, a lot is out there. We do not even know the truth any longer. And that is why we need deep
Mm.
research. We need to understand better and deep research. And that is why it's also lovely to create safe spaces like what we are doing currently, to have this profound conversation with those who actually have more experience regarding those perspectives, because online there are just a lot of ads and a lot of distraction. We do not even know the real ones that is out there, but we have to try our best to know the right one and also what we need to actually learn and also use to build ourselves at large. There could be mistake, but we could learn along the way with it. So I sincerely appreciate you for that profound insight. And also, I would like to drive to the point of workplace and also the leaders as well who are in the workplace. Because most of the time, their workers can be in the position whereby they have health issues. And health issues might not be something that one can actually notice very much easily. I can't say if it's something one can notice because even as a leader, there's a lot of things he or she is actually processing in the mind. So, how do you think
Yeah.
in a workplace setting, how do you think leaders can try to recognize when an employee health issues are actually systematic or systemic stress signals, Mrs. Amanda?
I think often there's a shift in someone's behaviour if they're going from non-stress to a stress situation around that. And it could be that you're watching slowly where somebody who's suddenly they're having more sick days, they are turning up to work late, they're not engaging like they used to. Like you'll find that there's people who are often in meetings are always engaging, they've always got ideas, and suddenly you notice they're not doing that anymore. Um, they could be having just being more irritable, more snappy with other colleagues, that sort of thing. And I think if that sort of stuff starts coming up, that's when it'd be good for a leader or a manager to just take that person aside, and it should be in a completely informal conversation. So I think it's just checking in, and I think that needs to happen before it actually gets to that situation. I think we need to have managers checking in on their staff more often, having the, hey, let's just go have a one-on-one, and because it could be something outside of the work environment that's having an impact, and then it's just getting built up and exacerbated in work because there's no control through that. Yeah, so I think it's really important that leaders actually engage with their staff as often as possible, and just can be a hello, how are you? Let's go have a coffee, and just read people's signals a bit more. And I think it should be part of management training on that sort of thing. And that will show the difference between someone who's in a stress situation versus just in health. Well, in health issue can be stressful as well. So there's that. Yeah, you got to get down to the nitty gritty and ask the right questions, really.
I completely
Is
agree.
that?
It is not easy. And a employee can be in the position whereby he or she is highly stressed. We hope that someone do not even collapse, which is not always easy. And these are one of the two things leaders can try to recognize. When a worker is coming late at work, as you said, or some kind of signs like that. Those actually shows the signs, and for us to give a sense of dialogue. I love that perspective. For us to try our best to call this person aside and create a sense of conversation that can actually be more
Mm,
beneficial to such person as well. As a leader, it is always not easy, but to be in the position to sit someone down and actually be in the position to create a sense of communication and dialogue serve as a deep sense of healing. Because whether we like it or not, every single one of us or every single one of the worker in the workplace have what he or she is going through, and we all have the load we are carrying as well. So to create this dialogue, make us understand the people who are also managing better. So also use those things as a source for us to actually create the sense of community and also know the right thing to do,
yeah,
know the right message to bring out there, and know the right people to actually bring a very important communication to, which also bring the sense of the growth for us to also develop as well and also grow as well. Mrs. Amanda, also there is a question that I also normally ask during the end of the show. From our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mrs. Amanda, what do you think that thing will be, Mrs. Amanda?
well, it'd be very interesting to spend time with Samuel Hahnemann, who brought homeopathy to the world. I think that'd be a very fascinating person to sit in this space at this time. And yeah, I think there was more community. It feels like back in, if you even a couple of generations ago, it was more community based, and it was around raising children in community. Whereas now people don't know their neighbours. Um, and the kids get sent off to daycare centres and things like that. And I understand why that has to happen, but I do think that's had a big impact on people's mental health and disconnect from um, who they're dealing with daily. Like they'll walk down the street and people don't even say hello to each other in lots of situations. I'm very fortunate where I live. We know most of our neighbours and we all talk and things like that. So, but yeah, I think it'd be beautiful to bring that sort of environment back to for the kids these days, actually, so they can go and play on the street on their bikes and run around and just generally be outside and off and away from screens a lot.
To be honest, the kids are the one that are not enjoying this time. To be honest, I know I'm the young, but
Yeah,
I still enjoyed it when I was still young. Community is very powerful. It's one of the beautiful
yeah,
things that we do know as people who actually lived it, know how beautiful it is. Calling our neighbors, playing around, meeting our friends
yeah,
and family, going to our friends who is not feeling well, all those life, all those sense of kindness, love, community
yeah,
shows how beautiful this world is. Now the world is very much fast. I don't know how you, maybe how you guys notice it, that this world is now more faster. We're in a very fast-paced
Mhm.
world, and people are just really busy. People do not have time to actually create the sense of, dialogue, creating this love. We do hope it comes
Yeah.
back just for the best of our kids as well, because our kids needs to actually understand this perspective before they start to grow older. They need to understand how kindness, love, and sharing community with their family and friends really play a very huge role to healing and to love as well. And also, Mrs. Amanda, I also want to use this opportunity to thank you for this profound insights and also this discussion as well. Thank you so much, Mrs. Amanda.
Oh, thank you for inviting me on the show, Jim Tapu. So it's been lovely.
All right, Mrs. Amanda. Have a wonderful day, Mrs. Amanda. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye.